Starting with T. Hunt. Obviously, I was during the COVID period, and I get a text saying, Coach, there's a guy named Tyler Hunt who wants to play tight end. And I'm like, what's he playing right now? And I'm like, okay, really? And then I watched him run around, and he's an athletic young man. And the one thing I like about him is he has an unbelievable work ethic, which is allowing him to make that transition, which is allowing him to do his work. And it's all to him because it's that important to him, and he works extremely hard at him. He's the one guy that I can turn on the tape, and I can see him physically. The tape's telling me he's thinking about his technique. I mean, I can see him playing with eyes, hands, feet. I can see him thinking about it. You know, so he has grown tremendously. And then you said it, the willingness to block. You know, because for us, you know, at that position, we call ourselves the Arsenals. We have to do it all. We have to do it all. And it's a glorified offensive line position. You know, and you got to have a certain mindset and be willing to do that. And he has stepped up. It's been extremely important to him, so I'm proud of him. And he's doing more than I thought he ever would. And when we decided to make the move with Heyward, in the beginning when it was first brought up, because Coach Piegler mentioned it, he was like, you know, hey, this guy, you know, can help us on the field. And obviously that room had become pretty crowded. You know, so the conversation with Coach Johnson and I was, you know what, let's get through that first week of training camp and see how it's going. And then as I really watched him and paid attention to him, I was like, you know what, let's make that move. And it's a credit to the guys in the room that when he came in, nobody flinched, nobody blinked an eye. You know, they had the mindset that obviously he's here to help us. And week one, he elevated the room because he is a really good all-around football player. And he does some things naturally just on his instinct, but he also shows up with an attitude. And we've been coaching him on the run. We're still coaching him on the run because there's still a lot he hadn't learned. And some of the things he's doing is off of his pure athleticism. But he's getting better each week with the details, the little things. But once again, if something's in his way, he's going to hit it. And you can't teach that. So I appreciate that about him. So it's been a really good addition. Doesn't, and it's two parts. I mean, one, obviously he's earned it. And two, we're going to play the guys that put it on tape, you know, and he's putting it on tape. And as we're trying to develop some of the others and bring them along, I think they all understand that, you know, they earn what they get. And right now, you know, in my opinion, you know, others hadn't earned the right to take those reps away from them. But I'll be the first to admit, I do need to take some off of him because when his mishaps comes, it's because he's tired. You know, and now I got to have the courage to put someone else in there, and that comes from them showing me during the course of the week that, Coach, I'm ready for it. So that's an ongoing process, and we're working on that. Oh, that's all me. We drill that all the time. We drill that all the time. You know, so he was ready for that. No, that's an example of a kid playing football. You know, he wasn't even concerned at all as far as the young men that's around him, and he caught it in traffic. His eyes was on that ball the whole way, and then, you know, the football player took over. So I would like to claim it, you know, and say it was all me, but I had absolutely nothing to do with that. And all coaches are guilty of paying attention to the measurables. But at the end of the day, it's about a football player. And, you know, we're preaching, playing with your eyes, hands, your feet. And sure, I'd love to have, you know, all, you know, length, you know. But at the end of the day, it's about leverage. And sometimes at that position and sometimes at his size, you know, hey, if I can still get my pads underneath his pads and play with eyes, hand, and feet, I got a chance. So right now I'm not concerned with that, you know. And there's times you can look at some other guys and, you know, that toy looks a little shinier, a little prettier. But at the end of the day, he's getting the job done, and, you know, and that's all that matters because he is a football player. Malik has a ton of ability as he makes this move from receiver to, you know, to the tight end spot. And we talk about those measurables. He has all those measurables. And he has the athleticism to go along with it, you know. Now we got to develop a certain mindset because now all of a sudden I went from being on the out, now I'm in the trenches, and there's guys in there just as big as me, if not bigger, and I got to put my face on it. And coach is asking me to do that and asking me to do that in a certain manner, and I'm not comfortable with that yet. So sometimes I got to protect him from himself. He's not ready for it. But we're trying to get him there, and trust me, when he gets there and he can do those things, he's going to be a terrific player. I mean, the ceiling is extremely high for him. I'm glad we have him, but also, I got to continue to develop him, got to continue to coach him, and get him to that point, because when we get him to that point, we're going to have something really special. I believe that. On Cameron, mentally, although he's a young man that graduated early in here, mentally he's capable. He's a smart, tough kid. He has the confidence to ask questions that some of the older guys won't even ask. So I appreciate that about him. But he's also not ready physically, and he's just got to continue to develop. And he's a guy, his system at high school, I think, didn't help him a little bit, because he's always out on the edge. Now he's coming inside, and he's got to learn footwork, technique, and all those things. And we're really behind the eight ball there. But mentally, he's not, and he's going to be one of those guys that, will be smart, tough, dependable, do all the right things to give him a chance. Because there's going to be some guys that may be a little bit more athletic, but I don't think they're going to outwork him, and I think he can win his battle just from the knowledge piece of it. I think it's different for every single guy. For me, I tell my guys all the time, hey, if you step on a man's shoes, you got to be willing to shine them. So, when I'm running around yelling at them, losing my voice, but then when they do it right, I got to also have that same enthusiasm. I got to be willing to come up and shine their shoes and let them know that, hey, that's it. That's it. So that's what it means for me. No doubt, you definitely can game plan around them and figure out ways to use them, to get them involved. And we're constantly doing that, evolving to that, and he's earned that. And you know what, I hope I have a chance to coach another one like him, because he's a good football player. I think that's what we want at the end of the day, and it's important to him. It really is. He works hard at it. He lets me coach him. He embraces that. He doesn't resist it. So it's been a good experience for both of us.